a simple adjustment with this process or with our process can be something like, don't focus on what doesn't work. Focus on what does work. So as an example, I recently read some comments from someone who was describing how they had major challenges with trying to figure out what I mean when I talk about coming close to thought or coming into contact with thought or unbound consciousness. They mentioned how fixating this was for them, that it was very, very frustrating. And I understand, I don't mean to laugh, I understand frustration. And frustration is an emotion. It's okay to feel frustration. It's okay to feel an emotion, even if it has to do with practice or whatever you're trying to accomplish in this way. But that's not what I want to get at here. What I really want to get at here is that I talk about so many things. I talk about so many approaches, including natural meditation, which is essentially do nothing meditation. I talk about, all kinds of ways of modulating attention. I talk about surrender. I talk about the fact that there is actually nothing moving through time that's going to act upon anything separate from it, that in one very real way of speaking, there's nothing you need to do other than recognize the simplicity of what is, right? But I talk in so many different ways, and I kind of try to get at this from different angles for this very reason. I also recommend other resources, other pointers, teachers, things like that, specifically because it's a little different for everyone, right? But what this brought to my attention when I was reading these comments is like, when something really frustrates us sometimes, like I don't get that one thing, I don't get it. And like we fixate so much on that one thing we don't get. But why? Like it's like we're trying to force something, and so we get narrow tunnel vision almost. We get a tunnel vision around a certain practice or around a certain thing I don't understand, or I get these comments like, this certain doctrine or this certain thing, it just doesn't make sense. It's so frustrating. And it's like, but you don't realize sometimes you're conditioned to focus on what frustrates you. You're focusing on what doesn't work and what's behind that, right? Let's look at what's behind that. Well, a whole lot of doubt is behind that. It actually lines up with your sort of identity, with your view that I can't get this. So there's something missing that I don't understand. I'm not awake. I'm the hard case. I'm the one who's been meditating for 20 years and nothing's happened. Like when you have a strong sense of identity around that, when you have a view that's that strong, you will just keep finding evidence to support your belief. Moreover, you'll actually recreate that experience and you'll find something to recreate it with. So you'll focus on the one thing that just doesn't click for you right now. But so what if it doesn't click for you right now? It doesn't matter at all, right? Even just the way I talk about things, the way I describe things, and the way other people describe things are going to be a little off in comparison to your own immediate experience. You have to understand that. These are words, these are descriptions. So if one description doesn't land, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, and it doesn't mean you need to like ride it to the bitter end until you figure it out somehow. Generally, especially if it's really frustrating to you and if it's just derailing you. Now, sometimes there is this sort of one-pointed approach I talk about, but usually that's an intuitive movement. You feel that coming up. You feel that coming into your experience and you align with it. And often it surrounds like a koan or something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is almost like this, trying to force the hand of reality, like trying to force awakening to just appear or force something you don't understand to be suddenly understandable. And it does have some of that quality of trying to understand, of trying to conceptualize. It also has the quality of trying to get something that's not here already. You can't get something that's not here already because it is already here. So if something I say is not clear, if something someone else says isn't clear, don't give it undue attention. Just move on to whatever is clear. Move on to whatever in your experience is just simple, direct, clear, obvious, undeniable even, yeah? So this is just an adjustment for anyone, and it is, don't focus on what doesn't work, focus on what does work. Don't focus on what you can't find, focus on what isn't hidden, right? Don't focus on what you can't figure out. Focus on that which is so simple, you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to figure it out. Don't focus on that which feels so divided, right? Like our divided mind and heart and the frustration and the problems and the challenges. And, there's the value to shadow work. There's a value to all of this. At the same time, we can fixate unnecessarily on the belief structures around that, on the views around these intense experiences we have and these strong fixations and so forth. We can focus too much on the view and not recognize that that undue attention is actually holding the beliefs in place. Sometimes we just need to relax. A lot of times we need to relax. So be open to the inquiry. Like, what am I trying to force in my experience? And what is in my experience that I can't force, that I don't need to force, that's already the case? And paradoxically, even approaches to awakening that are, you could call pretty one-pointed or pretty sort of driven, or like a pushing kind of experience. Zen, Renzai Zen tends to be this way. But even in those cases, when the koan finally breaks, when the identity structure finally takes a major hit and has a significant shift, it's usually through exhaustion. You exhaust the drive behind the belief that you can force the hand of reality. You can't force the hand of reality. You can't find what's never been missing. It's not going to happen. You can't enter a room you've never left. It's not going to happen, right? You can know that intellectually, but sometimes you really have to put all that energy behind it because there's that energy. It's just there. You can't deny it, or there's no reason to deny it. You might as well acknowledge it and then try to direct it. And often what happens is you just, you kind of push in every way you can, and then you can't push with the mind anymore. So there's something that's just like, tight in here, and, you can push and then you can't push anymore. It's like, how do you push, right? You sort of just relax, but your attention's still there. It's still intrinsic to the experience. The attention is fascinated with this experience, even though you realize now, I actually can't force this anymore. So now it opens you to a much more interesting experience, and that is true curiosity or fascination with the experience. It's just here. I can't force it. There's no need to force it. It's just here. But what is it? What is this? Then we become really, really fascinated with what is already here, and not trying to explain it with the question, what is it? But we're really opening ourselves to it. We're acknowledging it at such a deep level. We're coming to it with trust that we're just allowing it to do its work. We're allowing it to overtake everything, and it often does overtake everything. So yeah, just know that when we start to feel narrow-focused, narrow-minded, narrow-focused on something in a way that seems unproductive, like it just seems like it's just very frustrating. It's putting in your head, like you're trying to figure something out you can't figure out. You may just be focusing on something that just isn't working for you, a practice or an approach or a teaching style. Try something different, Try natural meditation. Try shikantaza. Try a somatic modality. That may be the key. Try TRE. Try circling, Try letting all this stuff go for a while. Just go on a diet for a month and don't do non-duality. Don't read the stuff. Nothing. Just take a breather from it. See what happens. You never know. It often will allow things to shift, So anyway, that's the gist of the talk for today.